Good morning. It is October the 15th. This month seems to be flying by, doesn't it? Thought I'd tell you a little bit more about my friend Georgie. In the video she had showed her necklace, Eeyore, and she's a big fan of Eeyore. Well, she has a donkey named Eeyore, and the lady that you saw that she pointed to and said you did this in the video is her daughter Kelly. And Kelly owns a horse business. She works with Horses of Hope. She also does a lot with special needs, Special Olympics, in the events of teaching kids behavioral issues by using horses. She also does a lot of therapy with people using the horses. She also has regular classes where she teaches folks how to ride their horse and compete in certain competitions. They can either use her horses or they can come over and bring their own horse to the ring. Well, there was one year they had read this story in the local paper about a donkey that had been primarily abandoned by its owner in a paddock or a pen or something. But the donkey had excrement up to its belly. It was that bad. And SPCA come in and taken the donkey and were nursing it back to health because there were some other little health issues that it had. Well, Kelly and Georgia decided that they were going to apply to adopt this donkey because horses and donkeys have a hard time getting adopted out many times, kind of like black cats, So they did win that petition, and they brought Eeyore home, named him Eeyore, and Georgia and Eeyore bonded big time. So that whenever Georgia goes down to visit her daughter, I say down, it's really up here in Pennsylvania, but when she goes to visit her daughter and to visit Eeyore, Eeyore will come running out towards her just to bring and talking to her, rubbing on her, kissing on her, the whole thing. So Eeyore is her special donkey. Well, a couple of years ago, Georgia had a heart attack. It was a major heart attack. She was life flighted out of our town, Lock Haven, to Williamsport for surgery. They had knocked her out for the flight. She was waking up when she was brought into the ICU prior to taking her into surgery. And she kept asking the nurses, "How's my ass? How's my ass?" Well, that's her little ass, is Eeyore. And, the nurses, they had no clue what she was talking about. But she said the nurses kept telling her, "Your ass is fine, honey. It's your heart we're worried about." So when they finally learned the story of Eeyore, they made sure that Kelly let them know how Eeyore was doing so that they could relay the message, once Kelly had gone back to work and those kind of things. But and Eeyore is her screensaver on her phone, as he should be. Someone had asked how come she wasn't in the front of the wagon. Now, that video that I took was the very first ride. The woman that is holding the reins is one of Kelly's friends, and they own that farm that does hay rides and all kinds of things. And they were afraid to have her up front because it's a little harder to get up into. You can see how short Georgie is. So, and her son Ron wanted to sit next to his mom for the first ride. Now, as you see, there was a young lady afterwards that came up towards the front. They were teaching her how to handle the brakes and how to break loose the something. I can't remember what they call it now. So that in case the horses got a little spooked and, got a little wonky, that she could do that. They didn't know if Georgia could handle that. I mean, she's 75, folks, but they don't know my Georgie. So for the first ride that Georgie took, she did ride on the second seat. After that, she sat up front, with the exception of when her grandson, or not grandson, great-grandson, came from his soccer game to ride. Then she sat second seat with him again. And of course her granddaughter Miranda was like, oh, I know, I'm second fiddle. And she's like, yeah, lyric comes first. So it was quite fun. Most everyone took rides. I did not. It was too cold. I didn't have the right jacket with me to actually ride that far. They did go down quite a ways and come back, so I just chose not to ride this time. There will be other times. And like I said, I just wasn't prepared for it. And I don't know why. I knew that they were going to have the carriage or the wagon rides, but Dingleberry me just didn't do it. What can I say? I'm a silly goose sometimes. Now, the only finished item I have here is my beautiful scarf. Well, it's acting as a scarf today, and I'm thinking 2 or 3 rows of these together would be a great scarf. But this is my Llama Mama. This is the first row. I have about 1/3 of the second row finished up. Like I said, I've been busy, and I've also been doing quite a bit of sewing. And yeah, that's it. I will tell you, we're kind of questioning what's going on with our senior center. There were a lot of miscommunications, I guess Friday and last week with the Meals on Wheels. When we went to exercise yesterday, one of the gals and her sister, who was visiting, we had arrived there first and there was no one there. And, it's not closed. They don't consider Columbus Day a holiday for this step agency. So we were like, what's going on? We walk in the door. It was unlocked. It was completely dark. There was no note, no nothing to let us know, what was going on. So the rest of the girls come in for exercise, and we decided instead of exercising that we would just play marbles. And one of the gals had brought a coconut shoe fly pie. These were leftovers, and a coconut cream pie. So we had that with our coffee. We made coffee, played a couple games of marbles, and then I had to leave. The other girls were going to play a couple more games, and they were talking about, well, what do we do when we leave? And we were like, just make sure the coffee pot's off. Now, when we did get in there, because there was no one there, no nothing, I was teasing the girls, let's toilet paper the place. Now, we know better because there are cameras. The firemen have cameras set up, security cameras. And I'm always waving, usually before we start exercising, because I figure whoever has to review those tapes should have a little bit of fun too. So, oh, I tell you, sometimes I wonder about us. You can't leave a bunch of seniors alone, loose, unsupervised. We get a little crazy. But, yeah, then I left. The other girls, once they finished, they played another game, and they left, and they just left it unlocked. We don't know if it was unlocked for today or what, so that's highly unusual. And while we were playing marbles, there were 2 people that had come in to do Meals on Wheels. And she said, "Are the meals coming out of here today?" And I said, "Well, what did they tell you last week?" And she said, "Well, they said if it was closed today, we would go up to Lock Haven Center for the meals." I said, "Maybe you better call down to find out what's going on." Now, she did call down, and they were all coming out of Lock Haven. That's where I talk about the miscommunication. Um, there's a lot of miscommunication between them. It's just awful. And she said to me she doesn't think she's going to be delivering much longer if they're going to do this completely out of the other center, because a lot of our people deliver outlying areas that are the opposite way than that center. And that's why they chose to leave the meals at that center, was because some of them, it takes them an hour and a half, 2 hours to do their route, and they only have 5 or 6 people on the route because they're that far out. And one of the gentlemen that volunteers, he's an electrician, and sometimes he's out on a call, has to come in a little later to pick up his meals and go out. And now the person that is controlling that won't let them leave until 10:30. So it's going to be interesting. And they keep telling them, "Oh, it's just till they get someone for that center." We'll see. They've been trying to shut that center down for years. And but there's too many people that attend it, and they won't go down to the other center. You know, strangeness, old animosities, crazy people. They still have their little prejudices. "I'm not going down that center." That kind of thing. I really don't care. The only thing that bothers me is with the quilting, because the person that just retired a couple of months ago that was in charge of all the step centers kept promising us long square tables for quilting. He never got them. He never came through on that. Promised us a closet. There was never a closet down there. So that's why we chose to stay down at the Mill Hall Center, is because we need square tables that we can put together to put quilts together. It's just a little bit easier when you're quilting. But yeah, that's it for it. And we'll do What in Tarnation in just a little bit. And I'll see you back in a few minutes. Before we get to What in Tarnation, I thought I would show you. I can't remember if I showed you this or not. When I went looking in my notebook, it wasn't written down that it has been shown, so I'm going to show it. I don't have the most recent block done, but this is the unraveled mittens. What you call this square? Fillet? Yeah. That's finished. Now I can mark it off as having been shown to you. Did want to show you, today is my normal day to go over to Hoover's for an embroidery class, and this is what we were doing today. We have been working on, for the entire year, 16 blocks. I have chosen the smaller blocks because generally what I do is I use these as practice to see if it's something I want to finish or make into a larger quilt. And I will put those smaller quilts together and donate the smaller quilt if, and then if I decide to make a larger quilt, because you can make bigger squares using the bigger machine. And I like doing the small ones in class because I can get done pretty quick and get home. And it allows me to play with colors a little bit and see what's going on. This, for most of these folks, they were doing the blocks on black fabric. I chose this because every piece of hair lint always lands on the black and stays there. It's hard to keep clean, so, and I decided if I am going to turn that into a wall quilt, I did not want every hair in the world to come to it. I did want to show you a little bit about the quilting, what I have been doing at the firehouse. I have been taking 2.5-inch squares and sewing them together. These are going to turn out to be a 16 patch blocks. And as you can see, when you're working with smaller, it takes a lot more tedious work than when you're working with much larger blocks, like the 5-inch blocks. This is a quilt that has 3 more strips that I need to add on this side, and I'm going to do that this afternoon so that I can put that thing together Friday. I'm ready to get rid of it. Ready to be done with that one. Generally we are given lots of scraps like this, different types of fabrics, and so we make a lot of scrap quilts. And of course, because those of us do quilt up there, we do like to do different patterns, and so generally we do different patterns out of our own stashes and donate, which is great because I have plenty of stash, yarn and fabric. But did that stop me from buying any more fabric? No. I had a real cute little Christmassy scene one, and I have decided that I'm going to start working on reversible drawstring bags that will have either Thanksgiving and Christmas or Christmas and just a winter scene on them. I did get a horse fabric last week, but I was trying to find the right fabric for an inner fabric that could possibly be a reversible bag, and I found that today. Perfect. So I do plan on making those reversible bags. Hopefully some of you should see some of them up next week in the shop. I have some bags that have been cut out that I'm going to be working on this evening as well to get done. There's a couple of Halloween bags, mostly puppies and unicorns and owls, and I think that's it. There's a couple of word sayings with faith, love, those kind of things, with a cross on them, with a red heart. And those will have some red inner linings. Those won't be reversible. They'll just be regular. Well, even if I do a regular drawstring, most of them can be reversible. So it's just there is one way that I do a reversible bag that turns out a little bit nicer, a little more structured than this one, with just the usual drawstring bags that I've been making. And of course I've got some more as someone pegged, pegacorns. I called it Pegasus. It's actually a unicorn. It's a flying unicorn. So pegacorn. Got a couple more of those too that I've got cut out that I don't have an inner lining yet for. But I'm hoping to find something tomorrow afternoon. That is that for that portion. I think that is all for that. So now we're into, I do have one more thing. At the shop today in the bathroom, you know how they like to decorate the bathroom for us? I did see this. And yes, it is actually embroidered on a piece of toilet paper. You actually put your batting or stabilizer in the center, and then you take a piece of toilet paper over the top and off the bottom, and you embroider away. I just thought it was cute. Hadn't seen it before. Maybe it was there before and I missed it with some of the other stuff. But, enjoy. Now we're on to what in tarnation. Sled dog team leads Montana police on slow speed chase. A sled dog team out for a training session in Montana bucked its owner and ended up leading police on a slow speed chase. Jen McNard of Billings said she was preparing her dog team for a mushing competition at Norm's Island in South Billings when her sled tipped over and the team ran off without her. Oh no. My sled dog team dumped me at Norm's Island and took off towards South Billings Boulevard. They're hard to miss. She actually had to put this on Facebook because she thought they'd go back to the truck and they didn't. So she put on there, they are hard to miss. 4 dogs attached to a dog sled with a bright red bag. She said she quickly started receiving messages from people who spotted the dogs running with the empty sled. She said she received a call from a neighbor saying a pair of police cars were able to chase down the sled team. They led the police on a bit of a slow-speed chase, she told the news. Everybody was able to bond, and he made a comment that this was definitely one for the books. Mingard said she was able to retrieve her team the next day from Yellowstone Valley Animals Shelter. They are all safe and uninjured. Apparently, they had a great time. Now, I don't know about you. We've had the grasshoppers in Las Vegas. That's plague 1. Here's plague 2. Weather to blame for swarms of crickets in San Antonio. Experts said an influx of crickets that some San Antonio residents have called a plague resulted from perfect weather conditions that allowed the insects to thrive this year. Residents said they first started noticing huge swarms of crickets gathering Tuesday in locations including the University of Texas at San Antonio. One man tweeted a video of himself eating a fistful of crickets with a caption parodying a letter from someone involved in a disaster. Dearest Mother user at Meep Meep Nation tweeted, "We are approaching the 3rd day of the cricket plague. What sanity remains is quickly being whittled away. Starving students are now accepting these vile creatures as a source of subsistence. I fear cannibalism is next." Molly Keck, an entomologist with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, said the weather is to blame for the plentiful insects. It's technically not an invasion because it didn't come from anywhere, right? We just have the perfect 3 conditions that kind of, happen to consecutively work for them to do really, really well this year. She told AccuWeather. She said the conditions that contributed to the cricket explosion were a dry summer, late rains, and an influx of cool weather. We had the perfect storm of the perfect conditions to make these cricket populations explode. Experts said the cricket invasion could last for a few more weeks. Oh no. Crickets are kind of freaky when they're hopping around. And I would imagine a bunch of them, like the grasshoppers, would be kind of weird to experience. City combating dog poop problem with flags reading, "Is this your turd?" A Missouri city has taken an unusual approach to the problem of unscooped dog droppings, planting little flags next to abandoned poop with slogans such as, "Is this your turd? 'Cause that's absurd." The city of Springfield is placing the flags in grassy areas downtown next to piles of dog poop left behind by owners out walking their pets. The flag slogans also read, "Drop in the trash, not in the grass," and this is a nudge to pick up the fudge. Carrie Lamb, Water Quality Compliance Officer for the City of Springfield, said the flags serve as a light-hearted reminder. Now, it is a serious problem, people. Every couple of weeks, there's about 25 pounds of pet waste that gets picked up. In an average year, that's costing about $7,500 in public resources that are spent addressing that. We feel like having a few city staff helping spread the word with these little flags is a great way to address that. She also said pet waste can pose a danger to water quality in the area. So just like human waste, pet waste contains bacteria and other pollutants that can be harmful to our waterways. You can imagine when it rains and we have all of this pavement. If there is pet waste on the pavement or even a small grass area, it's going to get picked up by that storm water runoff and carried into the nearest storm drain. In the downtown area, it goes into Jordan Creek. So people, you need to scoop the poop. Take bags with you. Good grief, you can get a roll at Dollar Tree for $1. I think it's got, what, 60 bags? Maybe it's 40. There's no excuse not to pick up your own. Curb your pet. It's a serious problem. Now this next one, my daughter would have absolutely loved, because she loved the Lisa Frank stuff that came out when she was a kid. And I couldn't get enough of it for her. And of course, when things were tight, it was hard to get her any. Lisa Frank Hotel features colorful designs from 90s school supplies. A Los Angeles hospitality firm is offering fans of the 1990s era pastel school supplies the chance to immerse themselves in nostalgia with a hotel suite inspired by designer Lisa Frank. Imagine. Such pretty colors. Hospitality from Barsala's Lisa Frank flat, developed in partnership with Hotels.com, features wallpaper, bed sheets, drapes, shower curtains, and other surfaces featuring the colorful illustrations of Lisa Frank, best known for school supplies popular at the end of the 20th century. Guests at the flat, which will be available for booking starting Friday at $199 per night, will also receive a Lisa Frank designed robe, slipper set, and eye mask. Oh my God. The room's minibar is stocked with popular after-school snacks including Pop-Tarts, Gushers, Fun Dip, Planters cheese balls, and Pixie Sticks. Oh no, sounds like a fun night. Next story comes from Ohio. Goat smashes its way into Ohio home, takes a nap in the bathroom. An Ohio teenager who returned home to find a sliding glass door had been shattered searched the house and was shocked to find a billy goat napping in the bathroom. Authorities in Ashland County said the teen returned to his Sullivan Township home in the afternoon and found the large goat apparently had smashed through the sliding glass door and wandered into the bathroom, where it settled down for a nap. Ashland County Sheriff's deputies responded to the home and, with the help of personnel from the local Humane Society, were able to wrangle the goat into a large dog cage. Investigators were able to find the goat's owners, who said the animal had been missing for several days. There is video of that, so if you'll do a search for the goat smashes into Ohio, you will find the video that shows the shattered glass, shows the goat in the bathroom. But the funniest thing is the fella who is reporting this on the news, talking about the bad goat. The homeowner did have security camera, so she said it was really funny watching the goat smash through the glass. But I'm sorry, the reporters, the puns that go through that whole reporting, I just found hilarious. I'll leave a link down below for that story as well as the normal links, Mystery elk on the loose in East Texas. I gotta tell you, Texas, you got a lot of loose animals. And I did not realize there were elk in East Texas. That just blows my mind. Authorities in East Texas are trying to determine how an elk ended up in the area, and wildlife officials said the animal can be legally hunted. Gregg County Sheriff's Office said deputies shooed the elk, which is far from any of its usual North American habitats, away from a busy roadway Saturday near the East Texas Regional Airport. The sighting led to an influx of hunters contacting state officials to ask whether they could legally hunt the animal. And officials confirmed exotic species can be hunted in Texas. You better run, elk, run. It can be taken any time of the year as long as it's taken on land that the person can be there legally. And they have a hunting license as a Texas resident hunting license, Wood County Game Warden Kurt Kelly told KLTV. The sheriff's office said the elk is believed to have escaped from somewhere, but no one has come forward to claim the animal. I find that rather interesting because around us up in Mifflinburg there is an elk farm. They raise elk. And it's raised for hunting purposes. It's raised to help keep the breed healthy. And it is also used for commercial food. Not commercial. Consumer food. So how an elk got loose in East Texas, that's a mystery in itself. That'd be interesting to hear the story of that. But better be careful in Texas. Here in Pennsylvania fishers and hunters are used to being able to go on just about any land they want to, most especially the fishers. If there's a pond on someone's land, the state rules are that they have to have access to the waterway and to go fishing. There are a lot of ways that people have discouraged that fishing, and it involves animal excrement for private properties. That is not so in other states. Many other states, doesn't matter if the creek runs through your property or not, it's yours. that portion of it is yours, and nobody can go on your land without your express permission. Um, so that is something that a lot of Pennsylvanians don't realize when they go into other states, that they don't have a right to access all the waterways. But I just thought that was interesting about the elk. I'm going to leave the link down below for that story with the goat because the reporting is hilarious in itself. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.